I want to do a quick review on this little reel right here. The only reason why is because I'm really, I was, I was totally unfamiliar with this model. Quantum, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is made by Zebco, if I remember correct. Zebco, when I was growing up, was my go-to reel. Zebco 33 Classic especially. But when I got older and I started using open face reels like this one, I used Mitchell and Shimano, and then I ended up falling in love with Abu Garcia's. But it's a story I may or may not have told before. What got me on the Abu Garcia? My daddy got me a Mitchell, and at the time, this was back in the early 2000s. You know what the standard like a Walmart reel was about 3 ball bearings. My daddy got me a Mitchell, one of the gold ones. I can't remember the model, but it was a gold Mitchell for Christmas one year, and I think it had 10 ball bearings or either 7 or 8. It was like unheard of at the time for us to have a reel that had 7 or 8 ball bearings. You know, it was like $100 reel, maybe not quite that much, but it. I fell down in the creek. It was real muddy where I fell. It was like what do you call it? My boots were caught up in this stuff. Is like quicksand almost, and I. It's probably unfortunate for Mitchell because I could have probably hit the Abu Garcia, and it could have probably done the same thing. But it was super. As soon as I hit the water, my reel went submerged, and the way the water was, it was just like still water. It got real murky, and it got inside my reel, and that reel never was the same again. I oiled it and oiled it, oiled it and oiled it and oiled it, trying to get it to, but it always felt like it had a grain of sand in it. So, but later on, I replaced it with a cheap reel or just an average reel. It was Abu Garcia, what they had at the time, the light blue ones. I think it had 5 ball bearings because at that time, the dark blue ones we used to get had 3, but by like 04, 05. This is probably like in 05. They had upgraded what at Walmart. Not necessarily that I think they were better reels than the 3 ball bearing. Well, in hindsight, I think they were a little bit better. But anyway, in the same price range, the $25 to $30 range, they had upgraded to a 5 ball bearing with a light blue color to it. And that reel, as I always tell people to this day, it was the best one I've ever had. I fished it probably for 5 or 6 years, and I fell down in the water with it at least 2 or 3 times, and I never. And like I say, it's probably just because it wasn't muddy where I fell, but I just feel like they closed that up and they sealed it off better. But anyway, this is a Quantum. Like I said, I'd never heard of this reel before. This model. I knew Quantum made open face, of course. It's a Ray, I guess is how you pronounce it, Aray. First thing I noticed, I'm like, hey, not a bad looking reel. Line capacity is just right in the ballpark of what I like to use. Tell you the truth, man, I think I would really like using this reel. 250 a 6 pound test, 8 pound test, 160, 10 pound test, 120. But of course, I noticed it's got your continuous anti-reverse. And of course, the big thing that I noticed that I've always looked for, this is an Array 30 8-ball bearings. And the first thing I noticed when I picked it up, I did like this. And I don't know if you noticed, I did not reel that hard. But look, that's the sign of a good reel to me. That's one of the things that like is a good reel to me is if you turn it and it keeps on spinning around and around by itself. This reel is smooth. It shows wear. There's dirt on it. It could be cleaned up. I need to clean it. You can see there's some dirt in here, dust on top, but it's smooth. It feels smooth. I can tell there's 8-ball bearings, and I don't even understand the mechanisms of how stuff works like that. But this is a very smooth reel. If it doesn't sell, I'll just keep it because, like I say, it's just the right size that I like. It's that medium. It's a little on the heavy side for what I do. But I think it's a good one, man. Sure is mighty smooth. And that's what I always go for. I was telling somebody the other day, you know, that buying stuff online, I can tell I bought used reels online before, and I can tell that the people that had them, they just came upon the reels like at a thrift store or, you know, this or that and other, because I've asked people multiple times, does it reel smooth? And they said yes, and when I got it and I did like that, it didn't do like that. And it even felt like a grain of sand in there sometimes. What was smooth to them, to me, somebody that really uses this type of reel and needs it to perform to a maximum, you know, standard, it was night and day. I would have never described some of these reels as, and at the same time, I've gotten some good ones too. But I've on multiple occasions, I had told myself, I said, I'll never buy another used reel on eBay just because, you know, so many people are just, I hate to say clueless, but anyway, that won't be the case with this one. It's used, you can tell it, but it's in good working condition.